A hysterosalpingogram, or HSG, can be performed easily and painlessly in most cases with a flexible dual-channel catheter like this one. The blue channel receives a contrast material, and the clear channel with the valve receives air to fill up the balloon. Once the balloon is inflated, the valve can be closed and then simply opened back up at the end of the procedure to deflate the balloon at the tip of the catheter. The end of the catheter is flexible, but it has a rigid sleeve to make introduction into the cervix and uterus easier. The rigid sleeve is placed at the external cervical os after it's been cleansed with betadine. Then, in most cases, the flexible catheter will pass easily into the cavity of the uterus through the cervix, and the balloon can then be inflated. Now, contrast media can be instilled into the uterine cavity while fluoroscopy is performed. A low-pressure technique is preferred to avoid tubal spasm. Once finished, the balloon can be deflated and the catheter removed. Sometimes the rigid sleeve can be passed partially into the cervix to allow for easier passage of the catheter tip. If the catheter won't travel all the way into the cavity, that's okay. The balloon can be inflated near the internal os and then the dye instilled. The balloon will actually occlude back spillage of the contrast media. In rare cases, a tenaculum and cervical dilation may be necessary to successfully insert the catheter. When an HSG is performed to confirm occlusion of the tubes following an Essure procedure, visualization of the coils in the correct anatomic space is perhaps more important than not seeing contrast material pass through the tubes into the pelvic cavity. Here the coils are seen in the correct position and no dye is visualized leaking into and beyond the tubes. This patient has a blocked tube on the right side, which is on the left of the image, but there's passage of contrast through the left tube, seen on the right of the image, with intraperitoneal spillage of contrast material visualized in the outer aspect of the field of view. This patient has an arcuate-appearing uterus with no spillage of contrast through either tube. There is extravasation of contrast on the right parametrial vasculature space, seen at the left of the image, but with real-time fluoroscopic observation, no contrast material was seen passing through the tube. Extravasation of contrast material with a high-pressure technique is a common cause of inaccurate interpretation, implying a patent tube when it's actually occluded. Be careful to note for contrast material actually following through the tube in real time.